Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. And as we all know, I do not do this program by.
Two-way views, conservative news, and Craig, guess what day it is?
That would be Hump Day.
What day is it, Mike?
It's hump day.
Hump day!
It's hump day.
Hump day!
Well, it has been a day, my friend, keeping busy. I've been running errands, and I made it back literally in just enough time to get the program up and running.
There you go. There you go. See, I'm always here early waiting for you, and but we could deal with that for you. We could deal with that.
Yeah, we just gotta get you logged in early.
Yeah. It's it. All right, it's 5:15. I got plenty of time to get ready. What time is it now? Oh, 5:59 and 62 seconds. Got it. Okay, probably should be on. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. I hear
Yeah.
you, bruh. It you know what you because you're the idea is okay. I got time, and then you realize you just don't have as much time as you thought you had.
Time is not on my side.
Yeah, time moves differently when you got someplace to be.
Yeah. It's like football math, right? Yeah.
There you go. Exactly. Except you don't get a timeout in life. That's the only problem.
Well, you get a couple, but when you really need one, you've already used them all.
You've already used them all, and well, that there just be how it be.
Yep.
Well, sir, let's go ahead and get things kicked off here real quick, and let's start off with a quick shout out to our sponsors.
Yeah, let's say hi to our good friends at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net. If you got yourself an AR in the past couple of years, you probably got one of their barrels and don't even know it. Well, now you can buy from them factory direct and get straight from the manufacturer. They got rifle caliber, pistol caliber, any length you desire. Check them out, hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you could take part in California's future today. If you want the best in tactical concealed holsters on the market, get on over to Hog Holsters. That's HAWG holsters.com, hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. That's all one word, no spaces, all caps. Get yourself a nice little discount. And if you want the best in field gear, tactical gear, web gear, law enforcement, security, fire, EMS, whatever it may be, get your group together, get your agency together, get on over to uscombatgear.com where you can get everything except the gun.
That's right, folks. Please take a moment, visit our sponsors. You can find them by looking at the links in the description to this program. Go there, check them out, spend some money with them, and make sure you tell them it was the guys over at the Rundown that sent you. Also, want to encourage you if you are watching this program live, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, go ahead and comment because we're taking your comments live. That's right. If we find them to be interesting, we will share them with the rest of the audience. And if we don't, well, we won't. Kind of simple. But just know that if we disagree, by the way, because you can be interesting and disagree. In fact, disagreements are actually a little more interesting because they do give us the opportunity to mock you.
Mock, mock, mock.
Mock, like a mockingbird.
Oh, look, you're getting a mockingbird? You're getting a mockingbird?
Stop mocking me.
I love that one. I love that one.
All right, well, let's get into this. And I'm gonna say this now. I'm gonna ask you to please forgive me if we have already covered this bill, but I wanted to make sure you understood how important this idea was. In the California legislature, there is a bill that well, it's been amended here. We're at the closing month of the California legislative session. This bill has been amended. The goal of the author, they say, is to make it so that it's easier to be able to make decisions for undocumented immigrant children who are here in the United States, to be able to get it so you have someone who can take care of them, make decisions for them, yada, yada, yada. But I want you to listen to this, and I want you to tell me, and this is an opponent of the measure, and I want you to to hear exactly what this bill, and we'll talk about a little bit afterwards, after this, exactly what some of the things that this bill will allow, that will allow someone who is not related to your child, maybe doesn't even know your child, to be able to do. And I just want you to think about how bad this bill is.
Nicole Pearson. I'm a mother of three, a child of immigrants, and an attorney who spent her career helping immigrants and fighting human trafficking. I am also desperate to help children affected by ICE raids, but AB 495 is not it. We all know this because in 2021, the federal government faced a swell of unaccompanied minors at the border and was desperate to place them quickly. What did they do? They reduced vetting procedures, and as a result, the Department of Homeland Security has lost track of over now 600,000 unaccompanied minors. Despite this, California wants to do something similar, but even worse. With just one sheet of paper from the internet, California wants to let someone that is not related to your child remove her from school, enroll her in any other school in the state, authorize any medical treatment of her, including mental health services and drugs, without the parent's notice and knowledge or consent. This is not fear-mongering. I'm not being hyperbolic. It's stated right here in the caretaker's affidavit that I printed for you, which I pulled directly from the bill. Line 6 allows this transfer of parental rights without even having to speak to the parent. The author claims AB 495 is about giving immigrant families the agency to choose the safety plan that works, that preserves family unity. Where is the parental designation? Their signature at the bottom here is not required. She's co-opting a term, non-relative family member, from the foster care and dependency probate systems, but without any of the procedural guardrails. No background checks, no interviews, no home visits, no fingerprinting, parental involvement, or civil, criminal, or professional liability if the child is harmed. Just 100% blanket protection for any adult seeking to abuse any vulnerable child, because this does not limit it to immigrant children. This applies to every single child in the state. Our children deserve to be protected through proper legal channels that currently exist, that have safeguards, and not just shortcuts that enable exploitation. We appreciate the author's intentions, but these unintended consequences are terrifying and they're unavoidable. We have systems and agencies in place that track and ensure children are safe and return to their parents while respecting parental rights. We can and must support immigrant families with solutions that don't gamble children's lives. Please vote no on AB 495. I remain committed.
Okay, so presto changeo, someone just comes in and now all of a sudden they just walk in and take away your child. Now, this is a page on a website with the California Family Council, and I'm going to skip on down here because I want to read with you exactly what the bill does. First of all, it expands who qualifies as a caregiver to include non-relative extended family members, defined as any adult with an established familial or mentoring relationship with the child, or with a relative of the child, a broad and loosely defined category. Authorizes the use of a caregiver authorization affidavit by these individuals, allowing them to assume decision-making authority over a child's schooling and medical care without a court appearance, notarization, or parental signature. Grants caregivers the legal ability to enroll a child in school and authorize medical, dental, and mental health treatments, including treatments related to school participation. This includes sex trait modification procedures. Hey, they're using my term. Anyway, does not require schools or daycare facilities to verify the identity, relationship, or legitimacy of the adult presenting the caregiver's authorization affidavit, while absolving them of any liability should the child be handed over to a stranger or traffickers. And it requires court documents related to joint guardianship arrangements appointed in anticipation of a parent's temporary unavailability, including immigration-related detention, to be kept confidential and only accessible to parties in the case. Disclosure to immigration authorities is prohibited without a court order based on compelling necessity unrelated to immigration enforcement. So once again, Mike, I will just say this. Now I want you to think about this. This is a state that says a child over the age of 12 as a parent, you don't have access. You don't get access to any of their medical records, right? They are allowed to make all of their medical decisions by themselves. This is a state that is a sanctuary state for transgender people, including kids, meaning if someone, including a mentor or a teacher, the head of their LGBTQ club in another state, or even here in California, takes them somewhere they can take custody of your child, they can get them gender affirming care, and I'm using air quotes for those of you who are just listening, because I call it sex trait modification medication and surgery, but they can literally take your child from you, enroll them in a completely different school, and steal custody of them without, and if I'm reading this right, without ever having to step into a courtroom.
Yeah, it says they have to have an affidavit, but affidavit's just anything you put your signature on. It's pretty much it. This is scary, Greg. I mean, and the words they're using in there are set up for pedophiles, for groomers. I mean, it's those that have a familial or mentoring relationship. Oh, you mean like a groomer, right? You're like somebody that has been with them on an extended period. You mean like a pedophile? This is really scary. And I mean, Celeste Rodriguez there looks like she caught it, but what's being done to stop this for real?
Well, right now there's a big push, and the California Republican Assembly, one of our sponsors, and a number of other organizations, the California Family Council, is working very, very hard to let people know about this and to encourage people to contact the California legislature and tell them, hey, you need to tell these folks no frigging way. Do not do this. Do not allow this to happen. For those of you who are watching the program live, I just put a link to that page there. So go to our website, the rundown.us, and when you get on this particular program, you should be able to find the link. But it's crazy because, and it goes back to this, and there are some Democrats or liberals who are going to support this, and it's not their interest to make things easier for groomers or put our kids at risk, but a lot of liberals, they govern based on the world as they wish it was, not on the world as it is. And what you saw is exactly what I saw, is exactly what every parent who really understands the world as it is, what they saw was an opportunity for someone to steal custody of your kid for nefarious purposes.
You're right, Craig, that they tend to make a policy for the Rosie Land and Unicorn Village and all that stuff where things are for perfect. But I am not convinced that there are not an element of them that take advantage of that.
And, no, I agree. I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. I will tell you right now, there are people out there who believe, well, you know what, we can use this to help kids who want to transition. Once again, the goal here is there are many, many people on the left who believe that the government, that the schools, and just so you know, the public schools are the government, but that the government knows better how to raise your children than you do. There's a reason why they want to get them earlier and earlier, which is why they're pushing the idea of a universal preschool, because they want to get a hold of them earlier and they want to keep them longer in the day. So they got the morning programs and the after school programs. And I get it. There's a lot of kids out there that don't have any, that parents who go to work early or work late, and they're called latchkey kids, whatever you want. Well, that's what they used to be. That's what they used to be called. But the point being is that there is an element within there who are like, this gives us greater access to their kids so that we can separate the children from their parents and their parents stinking thinking, and we can indoctrinate them.
Yeah, and hopefully at a minimum just indoctrinate, because there are some preverts out there too.
Yes, there are definitely some preverts out there. But folks, look, if you live in California, please follow that link, or just look up the California Family Council. Go to the webpage and look for AB 495. They'll have a way set up where you can send an email and you can call legislators your legislators if you live in California. If you don't live in California, send that link to somebody that you know that does live in California. And beware, because there is not a single left-wing idea out there, a single neo-Marxist idea out there that did not start in the state of Cal Unicornia.
There you go.
Yeah, that's what we call it out here. Anyway, moving right along to the next story, you might have heard there was another active shooter situation that took place this time in at Fort Stewart, there in Georgia. And I'm pulling up the story here right now. And a lot of this, and unfortunately, not having the ability to just sit in front of the TV, having to actually get some work done today and get some stuff. I'm still kind of It's kind of updating for me as it goes along. But it says here, soldier on soldier shooting. Georgia's Fort Stewart military base leaves 5 wounded, suspect captured. It says here 5 students were wounded at Fort Stewart in Georgia after the U.S. Army base's commander reported an active shooter and placed the sprawling compound on lockdown for a little more than an hour Wednesday. The soldiers were treated at the scene and transported to Wynn Army Community Hospital, according to an update from Fort Stewart just before 1 p.m. The same post said the shooter, identified by officials as Cornelius Radford, 28, a sergeant stationed at Fort Stewart, was apprehended around 40 minutes after the lockdown was declared, and there was no, quote, active threat to the community. The lockdown began at 11:04 a.m. In areas of the base, including Wright and Evans Army Airfield and the Fort Stewart schools, with officials advising those on site to remain inside and close and lock all windows and doors. 3 on-base schools, including Kessler Elementary School, Murray Elementary School, and Diamond Elementary School, were also locked down during the incident, Superintendent Perry announced in a statement. Now, Mike, I know they're still trying to figure out a motive because, well, other than the fact that this dude was just some sort of a nut job. One of the first things that I did when I first saw this, I looked up. I said, okay, is this Army base a gun-free zone? It's not a gun-free zone, although you're not allowed to carry personal weapons. You're not allowed to carry unless you are specific. There are limitations on carry there on that particular Army base, which I'm assuming is the case. Is it the case for all Army bases?
So what's happened is it's been left up to the individual post commander, but they've been given the guidance by the previous administration not to allow any personal carry of firearms. That's, if you remember, President Trump talking about General Milley. This was his policy. The idiot general, as they called him. That he said. In fact, his quote was, "I don't trust our 18-year-old, 19-year-old soldiers to carry guns." Right. That's exactly what he said. But he'll send them to war, but he doesn't want them to carry guns to protect their families at home or back on post housing. The additional thing is this guy's I could extrapolate, try to give you a little information. He's a sergeant, which means the time frame he's been in was during he probably enlisted during the Obama years, right? The 2020 to 2024, when standards for enlistment were lowered. Were lowered very low because they couldn't meet the recruiting standards. So they brought in people with criminal records, people without proper education requirements, and this person. I'm not saying this person is one of them, but the higher, it's a higher likelihood that he falls into that category, the lowered standard soldier.
Right. Well, all I can say is this: is once again, we will learn more about this. So I'm gonna withhold judgment on anything because I think there's a lot more to learn here. But I think that particular analysis definitely is appropriate. I just know that the anti-gunners are gonna, once again, they're gonna come out. You're gonna scream. They're gonna be screaming, gun control, gun control, gun control. And once again, this is an instance where, we don't know exactly how everything went down. I'm sure we will eventually hear how everything went down. And I'm hoping with the goal of is there a way to because well, first of all, you don't prevent these, right? There's some things you can do. Something like this is there's always the opportunity for it to happen. The key is how do you minimize it, and how do you make it so that if they do happen, the number of people who wind up being negatively impacted by it is significantly reduced.
Yeah, and that's listen, just going through this right now. I mean, that's something that we can, make a best guesstimate that happened. Because when bullets start flying, you don't have people pulling out their cell phones and running the other way. These are soldiers. They're jumping on everybody. This is going to end about the quickest way possible if it happens there. This sounds to me, and I'm just going to throw the wild guess out there, like a like a soldier that was brought in during reduced standards, and this is probably some gang related kind of violence because those are the people they brought in.
Well, but see, and it's one thing if you call it. What you're doing right now is reasonable analysis based on the information that you have in conjecture, and there's a recognition that we don't have all the information.
Yeah.
Right. And that I think is fine. It's when you have some people who are out there who are like they're going to talk about what they think happened as though they have all the facts and they know.
Yeah.
And you and I know they don't.
No, I'm just playing the percentages on this one.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it would not surprise me one little bit if everything that you had to say, everything that you shared was true, because you are Mike Stradamus. Or Mikey P. Same guy.
There we go. Hey, how you doing?
How you doing? I'm Mikey P.
How you doing?
Fun stuff. Let's talk about some not so fun stuff. You might remember this guy, Mahmoud Khalil. He was the student from Colombia who basically immigrated to the United States on a student visa so that he could go and lead Israel-hating, Jew-hating, American-hating protesters and shut down the college campus and keep students, in particular Jewish students, from being able to attend class. Well, this was a guy who would eventually wind up being picked up by ICE, and they were going to deport him. They were going to rescind his visa, and that's the whole thing is still going on, and they were going to deport him until the courts stepped in. Well, one of the things that was said by Marco Rubio was, look, if you come here, first off, you come here under false precepts, which clearly he did. He must have lied, because if he had said, yeah, I'm coming so I can engage in protests and keep Jewish students from going to class, or if he said, I just hate Jews, I doubt they would have let him into the country. But this is a guy who now, not only does he not denounce what happened on October 7th, which I'm sure all of you remember, 12 terrorists came out of the Gaza Strip into Israel, killed 1,200 Israeli men, women, and children, raping women in front of their husbands, chopping off heads, burning babies in their cribs. It was horrid. It was not just a military incursion. It was not just an invasion. It was an atrocity. It was a human rights massacre. There's no other way to put it. But according to Mr. Khalil, his position is, well, this had to happen.
That was, I think it's fair to say, very concerned about things like the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement. It's also a home of a lot of very important Palestinian scholarship. Rashid Khalidi is there at this time. There's this question of, is it an anti-Semitic place? Is it there's some kind of tension here that is specific about Colombia.
Colombia is a for-profit place. Colombia doesn't care about Jewish students, doesn't care about Palestinian students. They only care about their brand and money.
So it's a corporation, functionally.
Absolutely.
October 7th happens. What do you think that day?
At that day, I was at the cinema with my wife, Noor, here, like in Lincoln Center. And when I left the cinema around like 12:30 a.m., I started to receive all these notifications. And to me, it felt frightening that we had to reach this moment in the Palestinian struggle. And I remember I didn't sleep for a number of days, and Noor was very worried about like just my health. And it was heavy. Like I still remember, like I was like, this couldn't happen. And
What do you
But-
mean we had to reach this moment? What moment is this?
I was interning at UNRWA at that point, the
United Nations.
United Nations Relief and Works Agency at the UN, at their New York office. And as part of my internship, my research and work was focused on, Palestine, on the situation in the West Bank and Gaza. And you can see that the situation is not sustainable. You have an Israeli government that's absolutely ignoring Palestinians. They are trying to make that deal with Saudi and just happy about their Abraham Accord without, looking at Palestinians as if Palestinians are not part of the equation. And they circumvent the Palestinian question. And it's clear, like it's becoming more and more violent. Like, by October 6th, over 200 Palestinians were killed by Israeli forces and settlers. Over 40 of them were children. So that's what I mean by, like, unfortunately, we couldn't avoid such a moment.
Okay, first of all, he says based on his work at the UN. Now, let's just be honest. The United Nations is a horrible organization that hates Israel. It is an organization that is run overwhelmingly by the tyrants. You name a nation that we look at that is a violator of human rights and tyrants, and they are the controlling entities and organizations there at the UN. It is a waste of space, and if we could get out of it, I would say get out of it. If there's a way to kick them all, the whole thing out of the United States, I would kick it out of the United States myself. In fact, that ought to be the next executive order that Donald Trump does. Because the people who worship that organization want us to subjugate ourselves to them. So that's number one. But he's like talking about the violence. Now, once again, I start off by talking about, okay, how couldn't you avoid having to burn children alive in their cribs or chop off their heads in front of their parents, raping women before killing them and dragging their bodies through the streets? I'm trying to figure out, how could you not avoid that? How was that unavoidable?
Oh, easy, because this guy's he's an ass clown and he's lying. That's how it is, right? It was unavoidable for us to kill babies and burn them in their cribs and cut off their heads and rape women. It was absolutely unavoidable. Yeah, that's how a military action is conducted. Okay, you are just as Craig said, you're a human rights violator. You are a scum of the earth. And the intel I'm getting today, Craig, is that there's getting ready to be a very big push from Israel through Gaza again. The kind of thing where you start at one side and push it all through the fence on the backside. They're about done with what's going on in Gaza, and they're about to turn it into a parking lot with blessings from others. So, yeah, for this guy to come in and lie like this, it's just, let's be done. And what you said about the UN, yeah, worthless. Here's, Greg, I like having the UN in New York so we can keep our eyes on them and they can't go around the world and scream and we can't control them. But I think the UN needs to be a compound, much the same way Guantanamo is, and we control access into and out to, and that's it. That's where you get to go. You don't get to go parking illegally downtown New York. You don't get to commit other crimes with your immunity, badge, your diplomatic immunity. Let's have it be one big facility where that's the only place they can go. They have no access outside of it other to direct transport bus, controlled bus rides to the airport. That's it.
Well, so what's funny is so I'm looking up the quote unquote the people who he's talking about were killed, and unfortunately I didn't have enough time to really look it up. But a lot of it, man, is first of all, they get all of their numbers from organizations that are either controlled by Hamas,
Yeah.
like the Gazan Health Ministry, uh, or those that are sympathetic to
Yes.
Hamas, which is the Red Cross and Doctors Without Borders and the UN. But what they don't tell you is who are these folks who were killed? Why were they killed? What happened as a result of this? As a result, what happened? What happened that led up to whatever it is? And I think that's something that's definitely worth. At least I'm going to look into it after the show because I want to find out who are these people that he's talking about and why does he believe that that justifies once again the atrocity that they conducted against the people of Israel, against civilians, overwhelmingly civilians.
Craig, I wouldn't even bother. It's going to be like trying to find information in this country, but only using Democrat sources or every town for gun safety, and you're just going to drive yourself nuts. This guy's going to continue to perpetuate the lies that have been given to him.
Well, I hear you. For me, it's primarily a function of I just want to learn. I just want to know. I know you're right. It's probably a waste of my time, but at least then I can say, well, when they throw up that number, I can say, oh, you mean the guys who? Oh, you mean the people who? Oh, you mean the
Yeah.
situation where? Yeah, you're an idiot.
Hey, listen, as far as I'm concerned, he's here still on that student visa. He came over here now and he's saying those people deserve to die. If I'm Marco Rubio, I'm ordering his roundup right now.
Oh, I agree. He's just said it. Well, it had to happen.
Yeah.
And the folks over there at Columbia. Now, by the way, I sent you guys a link to the entire interview, so you get a chance to hear a lot of this stuff. And Columbia is, if you look, I just want to encourage you, go back and look at who the leaders of the progressive movement coming out of the 1920s were and going into the 60s. And in each time as their movement was shoved aside, look at where they went. And you will see they went predominantly to the Ivy League colleges, Ivy League East Coast colleges, and Columbia was the number one location for the Marxists. The number one location. So if you want, it's not an accident that Columbia is what it is today.
That's right. Exactly right. Yeah. Well, long known as the extremist Ivy League school.
The extremist Ivy League school. Exactly. By the way, Mike, talking about extremists. Now, I have to tell you that I've been a supporter of the Trump deportation policies of getting illegal immigrants out of the country. But I think they've gone too far, Mike. I think they've gone too far in this case. By the way, just so you know, I am joking here. This is fine. I fully support the president's policies, but it turns out the president, it says here, or the ICE has deported 50 Irish immigrants, basically saying anyone here illegally is subject to deportation. Let me read this for you. It says the federal government has arrested roughly 50 Irish immigrants for deportation amid left-wing complaints that it's only deporting non-white immigrants. But I mean, I know we count Irish as white now, but there was a time when we didn't. Anyway, let me read more of the story. Approximately 35 men and 21 women were taken into custody by ICE in Irish American strongholds of Boston, New York, and New Jersey, according to ImmigrantJournal.com. Most of those taken into custody were young individuals who had overstayed their tourist visas, residing unlawfully in the country. Irish News an Irish News website went in Boston described as one deported immigrant. Quote, a Donegal man who lived in Boston for more than 15 years was deported to Ireland over the weekend, less than a month after he was detained by U.S. immigration officials for violating his visa waiver. The 40-year-old man was deported from Langdon International Airport in Boston, Massachusetts, to Dublin on Friday evening. He is the father of two American-born children, aged 9 and 10, and the former father of owner of a small construction company near Boston. The deportation of Irish migrants contradicts routine claims of government racism by pro-immigration, pro-diversity groups, even as it also creates jobs and wage gains for ordinary Americans. So I don't know, man. Is that what's happening, man? Are they going after the Irish? Are they going after the Irish?
Here's what's happening. They're so diverse. This administration is so diverse, willing to deport anybody here illegally. That's all there is to it. It doesn't matter. It's the, hey, let me see your card. Oh, you're 15 years overstayed. Get in the bus. You're going home. Let's go. That's what it is. Craig, I do have a theory though. Again, you and I are not conspiracy people.
We're not conspiracy theorists. We are conspiracy connoisseurs.
Connoisseurs, right. My belief is that the rounding up of these 50 will facilitate when Rosie O'Donnell gets kicked out of Ireland and sent back. We'll be able to say no, thank you, and send her back. So,
oh yeah, her name's O'Donnell. You got to keep her.
She came back here. She's back. Put her on the bus. Send her back.
Let's do a blood test. Find out if she's truly Irish. She got the name. Yeah, keep her. Sorry.
This is all the laying the groundwork to keep her out of this country.
I wholly support it, Mike. I wholly support it. I don't want Rosie O'Donnell back.
Listen, if we have to sacrifice 50 Irishmen to keep one Rosie O'Donnell, I think they'd agree with us. I think they would.
Oh yeah, but they don't want Rosie either.
Well, they're going to try and come back because they don't want to be in the country where she is.
There you go. See, that's why they won't go back, because now she's there.
This is like a prisoner swap. They're going to get over there and they're going to be like, if you're sending back 50, we're sending back her.
Would not surprise me one bit. Would not surprise me one bit. All right, folks. Well, that now brings us to the part of the program where we have a lot of fun with our parting shots. Our parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. All caps, no spaces, one word, just like it is right up there. And you can get yours on discount. I wanted to share this first video with you. And I came across this one as I was just kind of going through. And for all the people who act like, oh, well, Russian collusion wasn't a big thing, right? The idea that there was a Russian collusion, that it was a foregone conclusion and a given. And now we know that it wasn't. This was just some of the stuff that was being pushed over the last couple of years, talking about quote unquote Russian collusion and how it was a given.
Russia hacking the election to elect Trump is the end of our democracy. Votes were definitely affected. Russia hacked the election to tilt it to Mr. Trump.
The Russians definitively hacked the election.
Russia did hack the election.
No doubt. The Russians hacked the election.
Yes. Russia hacked the election.
Fact, Russia hacked the election.
President-elect Donald Trump still not sounding convinced that Russia hacked the election.
The president does not want to come to terms with the fact that the Russians hacked the election.
President Trump says he still wonders if the Russians hacked the election.
If you can get him to accept that Russia hacked the election, see if you can get him to accept who won the Civil War.
If he admits it, it casts a shadow on his victory over Hillary Clinton.
Russia hacked the election.
Russia hacked the election.
Russia hacked the election.
Russia hacked the election.
Let's be clear, Russia hacked the election.
Definitively, Russia hacked the election, and Russia is doing it again now.
Election-related cyber hacking.
Cyber hacking of U.S. elections. Cyber hacking of the election.
Russia was cyber hacking the election.
Russia was cyber hacking the election.
The CIA, the FBI, NSA.
All of these intelligence organizations.
17 intelligence agencies.
All conclude that Russia hacked the election.
If we find out that Donald Trump just theoretically was colluding with Russia while they were hacking the election, that is completely impeachable.
This dossier alleged a conspiracy between the Trump campaign and the Russian effort to hack the election.
The director of national intelligence, the head of the National Security Agency, the head of the FBI, all of these intelligence experts saying Russia hacked the election.
The FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the former director of national intelligence, James Clapper, I mean, they've all said this. So to believe that that's wrong, you have to believe they're all involved in an elaborate conspiracy to get Donald Trump, which seems a little far-fetched to me.
And now we know it's not far-fetched at all.
Absolutely not. And this is like everything else, Craig, right? What's the difference between conspiracy theories and the truth? Just time, right? That's all it is.
Yep.
Did you notice? I saw Chris Fredo Cuomo there saying that it was a Russian collusion and all that. Did you? There was a recent video of him giving a video outside of the studio, and somebody played this for him, and he said, "Wow, I am wrong a lot."
He said, "I am wrong a lot." That's a good one. All right, talking about being wrong, and by the way, conspiracy. He said, "I am wrong a lot." That's a good one. All right, talking about being wrong, and by the way, conspiracy theories are nothing new for the Democratic Party, and just because they were wrong about Russian collusion, just because they were wrong about COVID.
Administrations.
Well, I would have been happy to raise it then as well. Frankly, we were focused on so many different pieces, but I have been one of the Democrats that has been consistent on what I call out Republican presidents for and Democratic presidents for. I think transparency is not something that should happen only when you have a Republican president. It is something that we need for both Democratic and Republican presidents.
So then why didn't you call for more transparency earlier during the Biden administration? I'm just trying to better understand why you are so intent now on calling for this.
Well, I think I gave it the same focus that I'm giving it now. We haven't, I think I've released one tweet on this, and you wanted to talk about it, so I'm happy to talk about it here. But it certainly hasn't been the focus to talk about it, so I'm happy to talk about it here. But it certainly hasn't been the focus. I'm just responding to what I think is a massive switch from the Trump administration around this issue.
Yeah, there's once again, they didn't care at all. Now all of a sudden they're like calling for all of this. They're acting as if they didn't have the ability to release the information themselves.
Lies.
Lies. Lies. Lies and breakdancing flies. Yeah, for those of you who are just listening to the program, I mean, you got some good music, but you really missed a stupid. That fly was a better breakdancer than the breakdancer from Australia.
Oh God, yeah, this fly could have taken home the gold. Yeah, easily.
Oh yeah, that was an excellent video, sir. That was an excellent. I saw you sent me one more.
Yep, here we go.
This is a video for those of you out there. Once again, as we say, we love to hear your comments. You don't have to agree with us, but if you do disagree with us, just know that we reserve the right to mock you.
Oh wow, was that a mockingbird?
Man, is that a mockingbird? Is that a mockingbird?
If you haven't seen that video, it's a guy who's walking through the forest and sees a mockingbird and goes, "Wow, is that a mockingbird?" And then the bird goes, "He's getting a mockingbird. He's getting a mockingbird." The guy puts his head down and walks away.
He was mocked by a mockingbird.
Yep.
Oh, we have entirely too much fun. Anyway, folks, that brings us to the end of the program. But before we go, we got one more thing to do. And that's one more quick shout out to our sponsors.
Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. Get on over there. Get yourself some AR barrels, rifle caliber, pistol caliber, any length you desire for your current AR build or rebarrel your current AR platform. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly, fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. And if you want the best in field gear, tactical gear, web gear, security, law enforcement, paintball, whatever you want, get your agency together, get your group together, get on over to uscombatgear.com where they have everything except the gun.
And by the way, folks, want to remind you, the California Republican Assembly in September, at the end of September, is going to be hosting the National Federation of Republican Assemblies. That's right. They're part of a national organization in Anaheim, California. They're going to be hosting an event. Go to cragop.org, and there you can find out more about the event, get a link to the actual website for the national event. Going to be great speakers coming from all over the country. You're going to want to check it out. So check them out today. As well as with the rest of our sponsors, go to the links in the description to this program. Click on the links, and you can go right to their websites. Check them out, spend some money with them, and make sure you tell them it was the guys over at The Rundown that sent you. And that's going to be it for today's program. We're going to be out until tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll be back here for Throat Punch Thursday. Till then, y'all have fun, stay safe, and we will see you mañana.